Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. I'm Mike Stokes, and the day I saw what Sarah had packed in her carry-on, I was 37. We'd been married for 6 years. A part of me knew that if I didn't end things right then, we wouldn't even make it to 7. I first met Sarah Parker when I was 18, a senior in high school. She was 16, a junior who just transferred. Her family had moved into the house down the street. That summer, soon after they arrived in July, we became friends. My mom, bless her overly helpful soul, was the first to greet them. She practically sprinted over as the moving van pulled away. Always eager to involve others, she immediately signed me up for the heavy lifting. Saying no to mom wasn't an option in our house. Even the weather seemed to listen to her. So, I spent that day putting together beds, shelves, and moving furniture wherever Sarah's mom pointed. Sarah was the only one home. After I finished hauling everything, she offered me lemonade in their kitchen. We sat and talked, and she told me about her family. Sarah, her younger brother, Johnny, who was 13, and her dad, Bill, who'd just gotten a promotion and a transfer to our town. The rest of their family would arrive the next day. Sarah was young for her grade because her birthday was in October, and Johnny was the same with a September birthday. Sarah and her crew arrived the next day as planned. I saw her brother, and her dad unloading clothes from their SUV. Of course, I got roped into helping again. While helping, I talked to Sarah. She wanted to know about the kids our age and the school. Sarah was really pretty, around 5'7", with a smile that could stop traffic. I liked her from day one. Once school started, Sarah was on the outside. Our school, like every school I've ever heard of, had its tight little groups that shut out anyone who didn't fit or was new. So Sarah wasn't in any clique. I wasn't either, but I was generally liked by everyone. I was an AP student, so I tutored younger kids. Sarah and her brother were 2 of my students. I asked Sarah to the homecoming dance, and she said yes. When I picked her up, she looked amazing in a simple light pink dress that somehow managed to be both innocent and alluring. We had a great time. After the dance, I asked if we could go out again. She said she'd like that. We dated all through my senior year, but I never pushed for anything exclusive. I knew I was leaving for college out of town. When it was time for senior prom, I asked Sarah to go with me. I was surprised when she turned me down. Tom asked me already, she said. And since you hadn't, I said yes. Then she added, I'm sorry, you were too late asking. What could I say to that? Okay, have a good time, I said. I guess I'll look into summer classes at U of M. It's been nice going out with you. Sorry I took so long. I mean, the dance is only a month away. I was hurt. I didn't talk to her again for years. I had a full academic scholarship to the University of Michigan. I enrolled early and started classes in June. I didn't see Sarah again for 4 years, until I graduated with an MBA in financial planning. I got a job as a broker with a national firm back in our hometown. One day, Sarah came in to open an account with an inheritance from her grandmother. It wasn't a huge amount, but for the time and for a 20-year-old, it was significant. I planned to hand her off to someone else in the office. It just didn't feel right for me to handle her money. Mike? Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize you, she said. I wondered what happened to you. Your mom and dad stopped talking about you after we stopped dating. It's okay, Sarah. Just so you understand, this isn't because you went to the prom with someone else. It's just that I wouldn't be comfortable handling your money. I'll introduce you to someone else. Why won't you work with me? High school was a long time ago. I'm not comfortable working with you. Exactly why isn't important. I just feel that handling money for someone I used to date, or still have any kind of personal connection with, isn't right. I'm sorry. If you'd prefer to go to a different brokerage, I can give you some recommendations. There are also several people in this office who do excellent work. With that, I called my office manager and handed her over. After Sarah left, the manager came back to my office and asked why I wouldn't handle her funds. I explained that I wasn't comfortable having a business relationship with someone I dated. He didn't buy it. He told me Sarah insisted I handle her account and wouldn't work with anyone else. I'll solve that problem, I said. I won't handle her funds. If you insist, my resignation will be on your desk as soon as I can print it. My personal ethics are more important than this job. The manager just said, okay, and left. I printed my resignation and was out the door in 15 minutes. I was home that afternoon when the phone rang. It was Sarah. Why won't you work with me? She asked. When I told the manager I wanted you, he said he'd make it happen. Then, 20 minutes later, he called me back and said you quit when he told you to take my account. I quit because my personal ethics won't let me work with you. I won't work with family, friends, or enemies. Anyone I might have feelings for that could cloud my judgment about recommendations. As I told you in the office, it has nothing to do with what happened in high school. I will not handle your money. End of discussion. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? No, she said, and hung up. I found a new job at a different brokerage within commuting distance within a week. Once I settled in, some of my old clients followed me. I also decided to start investing on my own. I got a big bonus after my first quarter and used it to invest in penny stocks. I made sure to tell my new company what I was doing, and they were okay with it as long as I didn't use their brokers or company information. I seemed to have a knack for picking companies that would go up. I bought stock in a couple of local companies at between $2 and $5 a share, and one shot up to $45 in 90 days, the other to $56 shortly after. With that money, I quit working for others and started day trading. I handed off my remaining accounts to brokers I trusted. In 6 months, I turned my $8,000 bonus into just under $250,000. Before the year was out, I was a millionaire, not bad for a guy still in his 20s. My lawyer and tax accountant suggested I create a trust. The trust would pay taxes on the interest, and I'd only pay taxes on what I took out. With the trust, I bought a house for cash in the country on a nice 5-acre wooded lot and moved in. I put the rest of my money into various small companies, keeping $100,000 aside to live on for the next couple of years. Oh, I almost forgot. I bought a $1,000 seat at a local poker tournament and won a seat at the World Series of Poker main event. I did all right in the main event and also cashed in 2 other bracelet events. In those 2 weeks, I won over $650,000. Of course, when I got back home, I saw I'd been written up in the local paper. That started calls from long-lost relatives, shady charities, and everyone with a get-rich-quick scheme. I changed my house phone number to an unlisted one, canceled my cell service, and switched providers, which stopped most of the calls. I no longer needed to day trade and was getting bored with it, so I started focusing on my hobby of writing fiction. I didn't know if I was any good, but I was willing to try for a couple of years. I submitted a few chapters and an outline to a literary agent, and he took me on. I finished my first book, and after 6 or 7 rejections, my agent found a publisher willing to take a chance. There was no advance because I insisted on keeping all the copyrights. It was published and did well. I got a contract and a large advance for 3 more books over the next 5 years. I was sitting in my den, watching poker on TV, when the house phone rang. It was Sarah. First thing I asked was how she got my number. "Your mother gave it to me," she said. That figured. I think my mom always liked Sarah more than me. We talked for about an hour, and somehow, I agreed to take her to dinner on Friday night. The date went well, but I had no intention of a second one. So, I took her home, walked her to her door, and declined a cup of coffee. I walked away, assuming that was the last social interaction we'd have. Nope. She called several times, and after a few weeks, I finally caved and agreed to date again. Sarah seemed upset with me when we went out. "Okay, Sarah," I said, "you're obviously mad at me about something. Care to enlighten me on what I did to piss you off?" I continued, "You asked me for this date." I agreed. "Do you treat all your dates like dirt on your shoe?" She looked at me, started to say something, and then thought better of it. "I'm sorry," she said. "Can we just talk for a while? And then you can take me home?" "Sure. It's your date, your talk. Go ahead." "Okay. Why haven't you tried to reconnect with me since you came home from college?" "Because I thought I had a girlfriend in high school, and she stabbed me in the back on the most important night of my senior year. I found out where I stood when I was told I waited too long to ask the girl I was dating for most of the school year, the girl I took to homecoming, to the prom. She thought I was taking too long. It was only a month away when I did ask, and I was told I was too late. I found it funny that I didn't get to go to the dance because she was with the one guy in school who bragged about sleeping with every girl he dated since junior high. Then I asked, 'Does that answer your question?' 'Yeah, I guess it does. Just so you know, I didn't go to the prom either.' I found out that asshole talked and often lied about his dates. I also found out that you had a lot of friends at school even after you graduated. No one asked me out my entire senior year. My first date after you graduated was when I got to Western Michigan, in my second semester of freshman year. I wasn't even asked to join any sororities." Then she added, "I have regretted that answer to the prom question for over 8 years now. Don't you have any feelings for what we had?" "Let's see. Feelings after 8 years? Well, I still remember the sting of the girl I planned to date while I was in college turning me down for the last big event of my high school career. I ended with, yeah, I guess I have some feelings. All of them uncomfortably bad for you. I still don't know why I accepted this date." "Okay," she sighed. "I saw the hurt in your eyes that night when I turned you down, and I still feel guilty about it. After tonight, I won't call you again. Please just take me home." So I did. She didn't contact me again. I ran into her at the supermarket a few months later. We exchanged pleasantries, and I realized most of the hurt was gone. I asked if she'd let me buy her a cup of coffee. She agreed to meet me after she dropped off her groceries. We loaded our cars, and after I dropped my stuff off, I picked her up, and we went to a little coffee shop near her apartment. After catching up, I started, "Sarah, I apologize for being such a jerk last time. After thinking it over, I realized I was acting like a little kid whose favorite toy got broken. I'm not proud of it. I understand that I hurt you, and I'm sorry. Please let me make it up to you. I'd like to start again. Would you? I think I would, she said. A clean slate and no conditions, I added. I need to see if I can rekindle what I felt for you in school. Well, we dated for about a year and became intimate after about 6 weeks. I asked her to marry me on Valentine's Day, and she said yes. Because of her inheritance, she asked for a prenup. I was going to suggest it, but she beat me to it. The one her lawyer drew up protected all our individual assets, and if we divorced for any reason except adultery, we'd split all the combined assets. We signed. The wedding was great. Sarah was a beautiful bride, and everything went as planned. I had a slight problem at the reception, though. After the bride and groom dance and the father-daughter dances, Sarah seemed to dance almost exclusively with George Martin, one of the male guests. I saw her turn down requests from other men to go back to him. She even turned down 2 of my requests so she could dance with him. I was upset but let it go for the time being. When we got to the hotel that night, I showered and crawled into bed. Sarah knew I was angry and asked what was wrong. Well, let's see, I said. You refused to dance with your new husband and some of our guests, so I refused to make love with my new wife. I've only been this embarrassed once before. That time was when a girl I loved told me she wouldn't go to my senior prom with me because I was too late asking. Ring any bells? Oh my God, she said. I did it again, didn't I? Yes, my loving wife, you did. And several of our guests asked me about it. They noticed too. I hope you had a good time because you sure ruined it for me. She slept on the couch in the other room of the suite. She tried to apologize the next morning, but I was still mad. For our honeymoon, we'd planned to travel in a rented RV for a couple of weeks. It was a chilly couple of weeks. When we got back to my house, Sarah was attentive but subdued. Finally, I had enough. Let's clear the air, I said. I know you're sorry. It doesn't stop the hurt, but unless you want an annulment, stop apologizing. What's done is done. There's nothing you can do to change it. Well, that seemed to clear the air. We settled into a fairly normal married life. I continued writing and Sarah decided to change jobs. She went to work for a personal management agency as an assistant to a very nice older guy named Carl Boston. She was his assistant for over 5 years until he died in a car wreck while on vacation. In all that time, she never had to travel with him to meet clients. When the dust settled from Carl's death, Sarah was assigned a new, much younger agent named Alistair Jones. He was around 35 or 36 and full of himself. I thought he was an arrogant pain in the butt. I instantly disliked him, but because I didn't want to hurt Sarah's job, I only told her what I thought when we were home and alone. I was totally unprepared for the outburst Sarah came back with. You jealous asshole. I will do my job and work with who I want to. Alistair is a very professional agent and a very nice man. He has been nothing but complimentary and encouraging to me. I was surprised by her vehemence and also angry. Fine, I said. You remember my words when they come back to bite you in the butt. Then I added, that man is going to cost you your job and your home life if you don't pay very close attention to what he does and says. What do you mean by that? All I'm going to say, just remember what I said when you get in trouble. I'm going to sleep in the guest room. You think about what I've said. Please don't. I want you next to me. Not tonight. I need to get over your anger, and I did nothing to deserve it. I was just warning you based on my impressions. I'll be very happy to apologize if I'm wrong. I stayed in the guest room for 2 nights, then moved back. But things were chilly for a week or 2 after that and never really went back to how they were. Well, here we are at the moment when I saw our marriage end. Alistair decided he needed Sarah to accompany him on his client visits. At first, it was just during the day. Then, about 4 months ago, they changed to overnight trips. About the 3rd overnight trip, Sarah had her carry-on bag on the bed as she was getting ready for me to take her to the airport. There on the bed, on top of her bag, was a thong and a see-through bra. I was crushed. I went into my office and wrote a letter to add to her case. Sarah, *I see by the clothes you pack that this trip isn't just business. I hope your extramarital business is worth it. When you return from this trip, do not come back to this house. It is my house, and you are no longer welcome in it. I will have packed your clothes and boxed your things and rented a storage shed. I will leave the key with the owner of your agency. I don't know if you're sleeping with Alistair or some of his clients. It doesn't matter. When you come back from this trip, you are going to have to explain to your agency why you should still keep your job. I warned you when you were assigned to Alistair that he was poison. Now you know I was right. I have loved you since you were 17, and you have managed to hurt me 3 times. First, when you turned me down for my senior prom. The second time was on our wedding day at the reception. Finally, now with lingerie that you would never, ever have worn for me. I will have my lawyer recommend a divorce lawyer, and have you served as soon as I can get the papers filed. I will insist on the strict enforcement of the prenup. I hope whoever it is you're sleeping with is worth your marriage. I still love you, but this is too much. Mike, I printed it, stuffed it into an envelope, and put it underneath the underwear in her case. I know it was the coward's way out, but I wasn't in the mood for a confrontation. I talked to Sarah and begged off taking her to the airport. I ordered her a cab and gave her some money for the fare. That evening, late, I was sitting on the couch with the TV on, not really watching it, nursing a martini. The phone rang. I answered it. A weeping Sarah said, "I'm so sorry. You were right, but I was weak. I fell for Alistair's and planned to sleep with him tonight." When I read the letter, I was devastated. Is there any way I can save our marriage? Sure, there's a way to save our marriage. Get back here in the next 4 hours and heal all the hurt you've caused. I'm on the next plane out. I'll be home in 2 hours. I saw the letter while on the plane, so I never left the airport. Please believe me, I have never had any kind of sex with anyone since we started dating that time in the supermarket. I have to go. They're calling my flight. Please meet me at the airport. Nope, you screwed it up. Find your own way here. It is my home. It may not be yours anymore. She ended the call. I finished my drink and went to bed. I was sound asleep and didn't hear Sarah come into the house. She slept in the guest room. The next morning, I woke up and saw her carry-on in the kitchen. It was open. The thong and bra were on the table in shreds. She didn't show up in the kitchen until I had the coffee ready. She started to say something when I held up my hand. Do not say anything. If you think that cutting up the evidence of your cheating, or planning to cheat, is going to solve our problems, you are one dumb. I continued. You have committed the final hurt by your own admission. You were prepared to destroy your wedding vows. They were vows, not suggestions. Before you even begin to try to fix this, you need to do 2 things. First, you will tell your boss's boss what was going on. Then you will quit. That is necessary just to start a discussion about staying married. You really are an unthinking, stupid. I warned you that that asshole would end up biting you in the butt. And he did. Think hard and answer truthfully. Have you done any intimate touching? That includes caresses, kissing, hugs, or even sexual compliments. She hung her head and said, I'll pack my stuff and be gone this afternoon. I can't stand you like this, and I know I am the reason. You never answered the question. I noticed. That's fine, but you need to understand that if you leave today, you can never come back. Never. If you stay, you will sleep in the guest room until I say different. It may be a day, a week, or a decade, but I will not share a bed or even a kiss until I am absolutely sure you will not hurt me again. If you can't live with that, then it's goodbye, and I will have the divorce papers and a check for half of our accounts at your parents' house by the end of next week. I am going out after I finish my coffee. I will be gone all day. You decide if you're here when I get back. Fine. If not, fine. I am done trying to be the only one to work at this relationship. I drank my coffee and left. I came back just before 8 p.m. Her car was in the garage. The house was empty. On the counter was a note. Mike, I am leaving. I realize that your hurt is profound and that I am the cause. I love you and want to be your wife, but I cannot say I won't hurt you again. To answer your question about intimate touches and gestures between Alistair and me, yes, we had inappropriate touches. They included kisses, hugs, and gentle caresses. There was no sex or touches under clothes, but there would have been. I am going to find a therapist and see if, with help, I can understand why I fall under the spell of flatterers. Tom flattered me for more than a month before he asked me to the prom. George Martin said that I deserved better than you. I fell for it. Alistair worked long and hard to get me to agree to accompany him on this trip. It was not a business trip. It was a trip to sleep with him behind your back. In all 3 cases, I was blind to your hurt until it was shoved in my face. I am sorry for the pain. I know my leaving is the ultimate hurt, but I can't face you when I know that this last was the ultimate betrayal. When you meet with the lawyer, show him this letter. I want nothing except what I have already taken. I will sign the papers when I get them. I am sorry, and I am even sorrier that I know being sorry is not enough. I love you, but even that is not enough anymore. I can't hurt you again. I am also going to tell the people at work what Alistair was doing. It may not get him fired, but if they know the truth, it will stop him from doing it again. I am also quitting the agency. Sarah. She signed the divorce papers and returned the check for her share of the accounts. She wanted no part of what she was entitled to. Shortly after Sarah left town, the last I heard, she'd relocated to California. Life's a bitch. And then you finally get rid of her. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.